Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Criterion Connection. I'm Wade.
And I'm Joe.
And for Valentine's Day, we are doing a film from 1965 from Czechoslovakia. It's a romantic comedy. Well, you could consider it a Czech flick. Anyway, we're talking about Milos Forman's Loves of a Blonde.
Yeah.
American audiences might recognize that director's name, who did Amadeus,
Yeah.
Man on the Moon, The People versus Larry Flint, and a lot of other films. This is a very early film he's done.
He's a great director over the years, and this is part of his early ascent with the Czech New Wave. Whole lot of Czech New Wave films coming out at that time. He's just one of the prominent directors that eventually made the move over to Hollywood.
Yep. And we're not even going to attempt to say any of these actors' names, by the way, because we're going to butcher them, probably.
You also forgot probably the biggest movie he ever did.
Which would be?
One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh, that is right.
You know, one of the few movies that swept the big five categories at the Oscars.
I'm a big Amadeus fan, so I saw Amadeus and I was like, oh, that's Milos Forman, that's right.
Another Best Picture winner.
Yes. This has nothing to do with any of those films. It's about a young girl, Andula, who lives in this factory town, kind of a blue-collar kind of town.
Yeah, she's at like a... Is it ever called like an orphanage?
No.
Or something? So she's in this like group home with other teenage girls. It's like a dormitory kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe it's kind of like a college, but it's not college. It's not college.
So she lives in this town, and I guess where they end up going is that the town officials are like, women outnumber men 16-1, and so they wanted to host the military and show them a good time with all the girls that they have.
It's like a high school dance a little bit.
Yeah.
Like they get all the kids, and they have chaperones. Well, there was that one guy. He was like the matchmaker, I guess. Yeah. And you know, the girls are like, oh, it's gonna be young military men. It's gonna be really good. Nope. Yeah. Nope. It's a bunch of middle-aged, schlubby-looking dudes. Yeah. The schlubbiest of all schlubs.
Yeah.
Or is at this party. Out of shape. Some were married.
The one gentleman's like pulling off his ring and then like rubbing the mark.
Yeah, it's definitely an awkward scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, the casting of that scene is very like, they got the average Joe.
Well, what's interesting
no pun intended.
Is that they're like, a lot of these people are like amateur actors.
Yeah. You could tell. And it felt natural, though.
So for those like less than aware, that Czech New Wave is very much kind of in line with the French New Wave, too. So there's a lot of amateur actors and kind of like location shooting, really getting by as little as possible, like spending wise. And I think you see the talent of a Milos Forman directing, and he's able to kind of direct all of these amateur actors. So he's like at one point he's directing like his wife's sister, like his sister-in-law, who's, she's Andula, and you're like, wow, like of course the sister-in-law gets a starring role. She's good.
She's really good.
She's very good in the movie.
She has a very kind of a magnetism. It's probably the eyes that do it, but she has like a magnetism to it.
Yeah.
She like, if you look at the whole cast of characters, her friends, she's like the star we're supposed to focus on. Mm-hmm. And she's not really an actress.
Yeah. And when we talk about the soldiers, the group of soldiers that like initially want to impress the young girls, and you have that one ringleader guy, he's the main guy, and it works. He's such a good actor. He puts on a great performance. But like sending wine over to their table, but the waiter takes it to the wrong table. Yeah. Like, it's a lot of that kind of stuff. It's this like really interesting mix of romantic comedy, but also like heartbreak in this film.
Yeah, it's We said it's a Valentine's movie. It's not really the best Valentine's movie to watch because it kind of it's not the happiest.
Yeah. So essentially, what happens is Andula and her friends, they kind of hang out with these three like 40-year-old soldier guys who want to have sex with them.
Take them into the woods in particular, which is a very odd idea.
And they go, I'd rather not. And then Andula sees the piano player and ends up
who's not 40.
Yeah, he's a young man. And she ends up kind of getting interested in him. They end up spending time together. They have, intimate moments and conversations. And he invites her to kind of stay with him at some point with his parents in another bigger town. And
the city.
Yeah. But he doesn't tell his parents, nor does he ever think about this woman ever again. She just kind of shows up on his doorstep.
He was just kind of like smooth talking her.
Yeah.
Not thinking, oh, it's actually going to happen. Also, she is in a pretty much a relationship as well. So she kind of breaks that off because she's like this new, I think his name was Milda, I believe. And she was going to go to his place, the big getaway.
Yeah, run away from this dead-end town and like live this new life with this piano player who seems really interested in her, especially after her relationship. She's starting having doubts about her current boyfriend, and it all kind of falls apart. And she has a very kind of rough time there, emotionally speaking. And the movie wraps with her coming back to the town and talking about how wonderful her excursion was.
The first half of the movie is very kind of fun, hijinks a little bit. Mm-hmm. The second half is definitely like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? You had like a one-night fling with this guy.
And she uproots her life, throws everything she already had kind of set up away to go on that risk and that adventure, only to end up back in the same exact situation again, in the same bed with the same friends of hers.
Yeah. Minus a boyfriend.
Yeah,
so she kind of lost in this one.
Well,
Yeah. I thought the film was fine. It's definitely... You could see elements of, like, he's very minimalistic in this film, and you see it with, like, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, where it's also minimalistic. It's
also very bittersweet.
It's very bittersweet. And then he does, like, grandiose things like Amadeus, which is the opposite of reeling it in.
I think... So, like, this film... The film itself is... It's good, right? Yeah. Like, it's not bad or anything. It's a story that you kind of have to kind of follow, and it kind of goes through these turns. It's bittersweet, so that's going to turn a lot of people off. But what I think this film does is it really displays his ability to direct and his ability to kind of coach actors and kind of get them to give the performances he needs out of them. And of course, like, all the camera work and everything is really well done too. And it's just kind of a sign of what's to come in his career and how really talented Milos Forman is.
Yeah. So would you recommend the film?
No. No, I wouldn't. Just because I think it's not necessarily the best watch, and I don't think it's the best example. I think this is something, it's more for deeper dives than like an average fan, like, hey, sit down, watch Loves of a Blonde.
Yeah.
I think there's better kind of romantic comedies, even of that time, that you could watch instead. If it were me, I would recommend some of these other films that Milos Forman had done before Loves of a Blonde. So I'm going to say no with that caveat.
And you're thinking People versus Larry Flint as the romantic comedy you should watch instead.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. I don't think I would recommend it. I feel like maybe if you want to watch it, I thought it was very okay. He's done much better films. And also just like, I don't know, just kind of like it feels like a one and done kind of movie. Like you watch it once, you're probably not going to watch it again. It's good for what it is.
Yeah.
The performances for amateur actors are pretty good, and it shows off that Milos Forman knows how to direct someone, even if they don't have as much experience as like as a Orson Welles or whatever like that, or a Joe Schmo. No pun intended. I love doing these puns with you. Yeah, I think. I mean, I guess if you want to watch it, go ahead. It's not terrible. It's not a bad film.
Yeah.
But it's just not. I don't think it's like you got to stop what you're doing and go watch it now.
Yeah, I think the additional context also I can give is, since we brought up how similar like the French New Wave this could be, when I first started watching French New Wave films, I didn't like those either. So, in all fairness, like I think if you like French New Wave films, definitely watch this.
Okay, that's a good.
So like if you're into like Breathless, or even a better, I think parallel would be Cleo from 5 to 7.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good comparison.
If you like that film, definitely go watch this.
Yeah.
But for me, for a general fan, I think there's a list of several films I would tell them to go to first.
Yeah. That's our thoughts on Loves of a Blonde. Let us know in the comments below what you think about the film. Make other suggestions for the show. Like, subscribe, and share. Follow us on Letterboxd. Just search Criterion Connection, and you'll see all the movies we've done and see how many you've seen. So until next time, I'm Wade.
And I'm still Joe.
And we'll see you later.